Hi guys, how are you doing? Apologies for me not being able to do any learning from other videos in a while. If you're a regular follower of the channel, you know that everything's been chaotic for the last couple of months, so apologies for that. Back to normal hopefully now though. So in this video I wanted to talk to you about a few things. First thing, me and the missus took little Ellis down the beach a couple of weeks ago, and I was wandering around, had my X-T4 around my neck with a 35mm lens on it, which is a 50mm prime. I always use that as a sort of, well, that's between the 35 equivalent and the 50 equivalent, just for capturing candid snaps of Ellis and stuff like that. And this guy come walking towards us, and I noticed he had this massive, great big sun hat, which looked quite funny, and he was walking around with a map on the coast as well, so he did look lost. And he came walking towards us, and I was like, what's this guy up to? And you know when somebody's walking towards you, so I was like, okay, didn't think anything of it. And he was clearly lost. But what I noticed as he got a bit closer is he was stood there looking at his map, looking around, looking at the headland, trying to work out where he was. But he had the word lost written on his t-shirt. And I took a snap of that. I'll put that up here so you can have a look. But the funny thing was, if I hadn't have had a camera around my neck ready just to point and snap at Ellis, I wouldn't have caught it. But even though it's on the coast, I still think it's a really, really good street image, because it's obviously very candid, it's obviously very sort of bit tongue-in-cheek sort of thing. But it was a shot that I just caught actually as he came walking over, and I knew he was going to ask for directions. And I just wanted to bring it up. Where do you draw the line? I mean, how do you know where street photography is? Because street photography by definition doesn't literally mean it has to be on the street, does it? So it could be anywhere. Martin Parr has done some fantastic street photography images over the years on the beach and stuff like that. They have different projects and whatnot. So street photography by definition doesn't mean it has to be on the street, as long as it's candid, natural and not posed and all that sort of thing. So yeah, interesting. Perhaps needs a rebrand, perhaps needs to drop the street for just candid photography or something, I don't know. But yeah, let me know what you think and where you think street photography needs to draw the line. My personal opinion is if it's got a good story, if it's got something interesting, if it's good light, if it's good composition, if it's something of interest in the image, as long as it's candid, it's street photography. Okay, so I wanted to mention a few things. Firstly, a huge thank you to Mark Fernley for sending me this zine, which is his new Shadow Stories book from Japan. He's an amazing photographer. I was lucky to meet him a few times, and I've done an interview with Mark. He's an amazing street photographer, huge influence to me. So if you aren't aware of Mark, jump over to his Instagram. He's a wonderful photographer. But his street photography is absolutely stunning, because I mean the way he captures very simple minimalistic images. He's actually an artist as well, so you can definitely see how he likes a nice simple canvas. He loves his black and whites. And he takes a lot of his pictures on his iPhone as well. So it's just a really good photographer, really nice guy. So thank you very much for sending me that, Mark. And if you would like a copy of his zine, which has got lots of phenomenal images in it, if you'd like a copy of his zine, I'll put a link in the description so you can jump over either to his Instagram or to his website and order a copy. So yeah, cheers Mark for sending that. He's also on the Street Photography Creators Facebook group as well, so if you jump over there. The other thing I want to talk to you about is a new purchase, a new book from a bookcase. I'm doing quite well with street photography books recently. So this is Vivian Meyer. Say hello, Vivian. Now she's a photographer I've always admired. She was from the sort of 50s Chicago, New York sort of area. I think it was Chicago. And there was an amazing story behind Vivian, because she was an introvert and she was a nanny. So no one really knew she was a photographer until after she passed, and they found her images, hundreds of thousands of images. So there's a really good story behind this photographer. Now, if you're an introvert and you like street photography, you'll take a lot of inspiration from Vivian Meyer, because what she is able to capture without being obtrusive, without feeling like she's in the way or going to get confronted or anything like that, and all with the Rolleiflex TTL, twin lens camera. One of the cameras I absolutely dream of having. But the images are so nostalgic. So the era that she captures is absolutely beautiful. So there's a few absolutely stunning images in this book, which I really love. And a lot of it is, I mean, it's a picture book, but a lot of it is just incredible how well it comes out, considering how old the book is. How long ago she's taken these photographs. So there's some amazing details and stuff like that. Now, I love Vivian Meyer because she takes a lot of the images she takes similar stuff that I would probably take if I was there, but the details that she picks up that I definitely wouldn't take. So I've learned a lot from this book. So there's definitely, and she does some fantastic selfies as well, like the front cover. So yeah, she's for an introvert, she's an incredible talent. So yeah, do check out that book. I'll put a link, the Amazon link, in the description if you want to pick that up. Also, can't remember who it was, but somebody pointed me to a Amazon or Netflix documentary on Vivian Maier as well. So if that's not on YouTube or it's on something, so you can find that out. So do look out for that documentary. It tells the story about how the guy found her images. Fantastic story. Really, really interesting backstory behind Vivian Maier. Okay, so I wanted to mention 3 photographers from the Street Photography Creators group on Facebook. Now the community is growing really, really well, and there's some amazing photographers on there. And I wanted to sort of do a regular feature of some of my favourite images from there. So I've selected 3. This one's from Ben Cremin. Now, I love this image. It's very, very similar to what Mark would have taken with the geometry and a single silhouette sort of things. It's a really, really nice image. It's something I definitely relate to. And I love the sub-frame in there within this walkway railing, so to speak. But what makes it as well for me is this corner that perfectly comes into the corner, from the corner there, that line there, and it's just a really, really nice edit. Lovely blue, very, very subtle. I think all you'll probably have done is drop the blacks, and yeah, it's a really, really nicely balanced, lovely framed image. So love that from Ben Cremin. Fantastic image. This one is from Bruce Hogg. Gorgeous, gorgeous image. Now I like this one because it resonates with me quite a lot, because with what we're all going through, I really, really miss the whole social interaction, and I've missed all this happiness and joy. So when I seen this image, it did hit home, because I'm a massive extrovert. So I miss the whole social gatherings and whatnot like this. So this is a really, really beautiful image. For me, I think I would have cropped in a little bit closer and just emphasised this here, this shadows. But the other thing is I would have probably rotated it like that as well, which is, it's just a gorgeous photograph, but it works like that as well. So fantastic image from Bruce Hogg there. So it's definitely hitting home at the minute how we're missing all the parties and stuff like that, you know. Now this image from David Royce is a really interesting one, because on the group we're having a bit of a discussion about what is street photography, and whether it needs to have a person in the shot. So my argument is that my opinion is that street photography doesn't have to have a human element in it, but it needs to have the idea that a human element was there, a person's just being in the scene. So like a discarded cigarette which is still smoking, yeah, or even the smallest, like a shoe that's been left there or whatever, the smallest gesture. Now I really, really love this photograph because it's just that. It looks like somebody's been out, they've been sweeping up, they've been tidying up, whatever they've done, but the light is gorgeous on it. It looks like a shot from sort of 30 years ago because of the colours and everything, and the scene doesn't look like it's aged at all. It's a really, really intriguing scene. This bit of geometry on the left here is beautiful. I say the light coming in here is fantastic, but you'll notice that these verticals are vertical, which is perfect, but obviously the chair is on the wonk. Now, this is an image I keep coming back to as well, because obviously that back line, all them brickwork in the back or wherever it is, that wood, is perfectly horizontal. So there's obviously something going on with this deck in here, which is up on the wonk sort of thing. So it's really, really intriguing as to why that chair, which does have all 4 legs on the floor, is on the angle. But the other thing is, it's on the angle, yet somebody's clearly been sat on it on the angle, so they haven't moved it onto a better position. So it's a really interesting photograph. So I really, really like that. So well done, David Royce, for that one. But yeah, there's a few really, really, really cool, interesting pictures on the group, so do check them out. Right then, we will head over now to Lightroom, and we've got 3 images to edit. Normally I choose 1 or 2 images to edit, but it's been a while, so I thought I'd grab 3. This one's from Nick Patchcott, pardon me, which is on a Nikon, I believe. I think it was a 7100 from memory, from looking at the metadata a minute ago. Then we've got Alan Godfrey. He's got this railway scene. Now, I'm intrigued with this one because it's not an image I would have taken. And so I'm intrigued as to how it's going to look and what your feedback is on the image, because it's not an image I would have taken, but obviously Alan was drawn to it. So we'll have a look, see what Alan might have got in mind. Now, if you've never seen the video before, what I do is I'll edit their photographs and then show you their edits at the end of the video, and because I haven't seen them. I don't know how their photographs are going to look. So I'll show you their version at the end of the video. And then this one from Kent Skibs Dad. Skibs Dad. Apologies, Kent, if I've got that wrong. I probably have. Now this is, I know, a Ricoh GR3 file, and I'm really excited to have a play with that because I've never edited a Ricoh file. So yeah, looking forward to that. And that is an example of an image that doesn't need any editing. He's got that right in camera. So we'll look through and have a look and see what we can do with each one. Now, obviously, looking at the histogram's nice. It looks like he's just stop underexposed there, so he could have gone a bit brighter. But ISO is only 100, so he could have gone at least ISO 400 to bring that up. But his shutter speed is very slow, and obviously with a moving subject, now he's got away with it, 50th of a second. But he's probably had it on auto, one of the auto modes, aperture priority, that sort of thing. But I definitely would have had a faster shutter there with a 50mm prime, with 50mm lens. I assume that's on a crop factor, so maybe 75, I don't know. But yeah, so it's a nice image. I just definitely would have brightened it up with the ISO and a faster shutter, but otherwise he's got away with it. So yeah, so we'll give this a quick edit. That's obviously going to be a black and white one, so we'll give it Adobe monochrome. Let's get the histogram right, so let's lift that to the right. So we need to go, we'll go a stop, so we're not quite white on the right hand side, we're not quite there, still under a little bit, but that's fine. We will drop the blacks just to make sure we've got some nice punch. That's quite nice. Now I do like the photograph, but instantly what I'm missing is the story of what's going on down here, where the bloke's going, and what ultimately looks really, really modern, cool environment. And I want to know where he's going. So it looks, I think I would have stood more to the right and had that perspective going down the tunnel or whatever it is. I'd like to know actually, Nick, if you're watching, where this photograph was taken, because it's a really, 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 really cool location. I love the fall off of the light here. That's beautiful. So if you could have crouched down and pointed up a little bit more to include a little bit more fall off, that would have been really, really nice. Obviously you could add that with a grad if you wanted to. But yeah, it doesn't really need much. I mean, I dropped the shadows as well just to give a bit more pop. Oh, that's interesting, isn't it? On a Fuji file, that would have behaved completely different. That's nuts. It's barely moving. So we'll drop that. What we'll do is we'll come over to the white balance now. And by moving the white balance, because we're in black and white, we can do this. By moving the white balance, we're actually getting some depth in the floor, that actually lifting that contrast up a little bit. So what I'll do then is I'll add a crop. I don't normally do a crop now, but what I'll do is I'll crop into there, because that part of there is going to be my frame, because at the minute I've got this part here which doesn't frame the image, but that finishes the image off there. See, instantly now the composition's a little bit off, because I desperately want to see down there. And he is, I think, on the third. He is bang on the third, but yeah, it just needs to be positioned more to the right. But we'll come back to that image in a second. This one from Alan Godfrey, I'm going to brighten it up because Alan's gone 1600 2.8125, which is fab. This is, I would have had a 3200 ISO there, just so that you've got an extra stop. See, your base image would have been that. Let's lift that up a little bit. Now obviously anything clipping now is the red areas there of the lights, so we'll straighten that as well. So we'll come into the crop tool, use the angle thing there. In fact, if I'm in the crop tool and press, so that's, wonder why that's not working now. In the crop tool, there it is now. It wasn't working a second ago. So I press the command button. I've got my line tool, so I can use the it's not quite right, is it? I can use that to get my straight angle. So that's as much as I can go. Leave that there. Now that background's really distracting for me, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop the shadows quite a bit, and I'm going to try and find the yellow, because what I think Alan was drawn to was this yellow pointing in from the corner in the yellow jacket. So I'm going to lift the saturation up just to make sure that's yellow. And I never do this. This is interesting, because with my street photography, I never touch vibrance and saturation ever. If anything, I desaturate. Now I'm going to lift the yellows a little bit, just to emphasise them a little bit, and I'm going to drop the blue, because the blue in the sky is a bit distracting. So that's desaturated the blue, so now I've got a nice solid black sky. But what I'm noticing now is that background, I'm using a brush. I'm just going to brush around there, because he's got the information. If I press O, you can see where I've brushed. I'm going to use the exposure, press O again so you can see what's happening. Just going to darken that a little bit so it's not so obvious. I've got that guy's red jacket jumping out at me now, but that's okay. Right, let's enter that again and come back up to the shadows. See, what I like about the shot is the mystery, because you can hardly see the guy there. And I like the white catching the back of the umbrella, so let's lift that white up a little bit. There you go, it's a bit more pop to it. Let's leave that there now and come back to that in a minute. This one from Skibs, if I'm getting that right, doesn't really need any editing. So this is a good example of getting it right on camera and literally just leaving it as it is. So we'll turn it black and white. It's not going to do much, but there we are. I'll lift the white balance up just to get a bit more depth behind the bloke. It's a bit more. You could do that using the shadows there, but if I lift the shadows, it's lifting the sides of the image as well. If I look at the image actually, so that's basically what the scene was. Let's drop that and that. So if I lift the white balance, see how it changes the mid-tones, but just on the railway track. So it's getting me a nice, if I press Y, you can see a before and after. Let's lift the whites up a touch. So using these, you can get a bit more of a balance, a bit more separation for the silhouette there. Obviously making sure that it is, you're not crushing your sensor by doing this, because you're not pushing the life out of the sensor, you're not distorting the quality by lifting the shadows like that, So if anything, I'd drop the shadows. Now I really love the shot. Let's get rid of the before and after. I really love the shot. The only thing that frustrates me is got a gorgeous S line coming in here from the bottom left, but then it kind of cuts off on the top right. And he's got loads of space on the left of this track here, but nothing here on the right. So it's a tad off balance, but it's a fab image. Now, let's say the Ricoh images, look how sharp that is. Let's come down here to have a look at sharpening. Let's turn sharpening off. Because I knew Ricoh lenses are amazingly sharp. Because his settings are amazing as well. 80th of a second, f9, 800th of a second. I might have said 80th of a second then. ISO 80. F9, 800th of a second. There we are. So he's got the movement is absolutely frozen. He's got his depth of field, and he's got a really low ISO. So he's got loads of editing capability. So he's got the best out of his sensor. So yeah, it doesn't really need anything. The only thing I might do is add a bit of a vignette, because that will bring your eye back down. If you look at the vignette, what it's doing to that top right corner, it's just a touch of a vignette. Bring your eye back down. You could even crop a touch off that top corner. Like that. Tidy it up a bit. But it doesn't need anything else. The red line here is obviously our clipping marks. I might brighten it a little bit. Reminds me of a Fan Ho image I seen, a train tracks image a long time ago. I wonder if he was inspired by Fan Ho. Fantastic photographer. So yeah, that is it. That is it. Let's have a look at this first one now. I don't think I'd do any more to that. The only thing I could do is put a grad on the bottom and then darken that just to give us a bit more of a frame. That's that. Desperately need to see what's going on in it. I reckon it's the wrong shape as well. Let's have a look at 5x7. That's a better crop. That's a better shape, yeah. There you go. Yeah, desperately want to see what's going on down here. So maybe even cropping that there, because that tidies that up, because that white thing was a bit of a distraction, wasn't it? That was there. Got rid of that. He's still on the third. There we are. Happy with that. And let's look at the white balance and make sure that we've got enough depth. There you go. Nice. Let's leave it there. Don't think I'll do anything else to that. That one, I might darken that other station down a bit more again. So I'll look at that. Just darken him down a little bit more. And I'll desaturate it as well, take some of the colour out of it so it's not as obvious. So let's have a look at that. Yeah, that's better. So I wonder if we could take the highlights out of that one. We'll go over there to here and drop the highlights. Oh, here you go. Far more control over that now. There you go, that's better. There you go, brings my eye back and saturation's down. I might be tempted to Photoshop that red out a little bit, just bring a tiny little bit of desaturation on that red. But you've got red there and you've got red in the magazine as well, so not sure whether or not I'd keep this in. I think I need to start being a bit more open to leaving rubbish and stuff like that. So normally I would Photoshop that out. I probably will, to be honest with you. I'll probably Photoshop that out. Let's move him over a touch to the right if we can. Oh, we can't. I want that X coming in there, but I can't because that's not straight. I can't have... That's all I can do, because I want that X, this coming in here, these lines. Yeah, I think I'm happy with that. I might do some small tweaking in Photoshop, and then that one is done. And we've not even cropped that, have we? Yeah, very, very small crop on that one. Let's give that a 5:7 crop as well. I like that light thing, or whatever that is. I like that. That's a better crop. I'll tell you what it does need. It does need something coming in here in this bottom corner, because you've got a lot of black on the top left. So it does need something to darken there to balance that. Let's have a look. Yeah, it doesn't need much though, does it? Fantastic. Right, we'll leave it there. Yeah, I'm intrigued to see, because I've not seen these photographers how they've edited the images. I know the last one won't be much different to that because there's not much you can do. But the other two, definitely the yellow one is going to be, I imagine, quite different to mine. So yeah, interesting to see how you... Let me know in the comments which you prefer. Obviously, I'll put the original photographers up. Yeah. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you have enjoyed the video, please hit the subscribe button and be sure to stick around for my exciting news, which I can't keep my mouth shut. I'm doing anybody that knows about it, I'm doing their editing, so I'm looking forward to sharing that with you. But yeah, head over to the Facebook group Street Photography Creators as well. And if you want to get involved, if you want to send me a raw file and I'll take a look at it, spit it out, I'll leave a link in the description below. So yeah, check that out and I'll see you again next time. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care.